Man at the Garden, the fourth track of Kendrick Lamar's latest album, GNX, was difficult for me to understand. The song sounds great, but I think that the message that Kendrick is espousing is inconsistent with his desire for humility that shows up on so much of his previous discography. Does Kendrick really deserve all of his success? How do we contrast that with his desire to put his pride to death, something that also shows up on GNX? And what is the metaphorical garden that he's talking about in the title of the song? It's certainly not this one. Man at the Garden is a celebration of Kendrick's achievements and a recognition of his efforts to overcome his struggles and hold the title of greatest of all time. It's been widely recognised this year that Lamar is certainly the greatest rapper still working, and many are putting him in the number one spot of all time. Kendrick himself makes this claim, with the repeating refrain being, "I deserve it all." The wealth, attention, accolades, fame, having a close relationship with God, all of these things are deserved. So how does Kendrick justify this claim? His efforts include enduring temptation, having pure intentions, being a good friend, and praying for his enemies. All virtuous things, particularly as a professing Christian. In addition to this, there are countless other struggles that Kendrick has overcome, explored in other albums. This includes dealing with family trauma, surviving gang warfare in his hometown of Compton, dealing with the survivor's guilt of having wealth while his friends live in suffering, and keeping his family together despite numerous trials. Because Kendrick has overcome, he's deserving of his post as Man at the Garden, this metaphorical Eden where God walks in the cool of the day. But I actually think that this is where Kendrick strays from one of the core tenets of his music, or at least a belief that he used to hold. Because the profoundly Christian morals that undergird his work, namely the belief that one's pride has to die, is not present here. When I first listened to Man at the Garden, I reached the second half of the song expecting a classic Kendrick twist on the story, something that he does extremely well. For example, in Black of the Berry, the twist is foreshadowed when he states that he is the biggest hypocrite of 2015. This is later realised in the final lines of the song. He reveals that his support for the Black Rights Movement is marred by his own involvement in gang warfare. Or on the track How Much a Dollar Cost, where his pride and selfishness hold him back from giving $1 to a beggar. This selfishness ultimately costs him his place in heaven. For me, these songs that involve some sort of twist are easily Kendrick's best because of the way that they subvert expectations. And Kendrick is so adept at crafting these stories that reveal his own faults. It's a pretty unique quality to Kendrick in an industry where braggadocious lyrics and antics are the norm. And sometimes he's extremely explicit about this self-awareness too. Consider a To Pimp a Butterfly era unreleased song titled Jesus Saves. In it, Kendrick repeats over and over in a broken voice, questioning why God is blessing him despite his own wickedness. It's an absolutely devastating song. So given Kendrick's apparent humility on these tracks, what is a listener to make of Man at the Garden, where it feels like he's saying that his hard work gives him a right to the blessings he's received, instead of recognizing them as good gifts from God? And I think it's all in the title of the song. Man at the Garden isn't actually an enviable position, because that position precedes destruction. C.S. Lewis writes in Mere Christianity that the essential vice, the utmost evil, is pride. It was through pride that the devil became the devil. Pride leads to every other vice. It is the complete anti-God state of mind. The first man at the garden was Adam. Adam believed he was deserving of knowledge like God. He disobeyed God's command and ate the fruit from the tree of knowledge. Pride in desiring to be like God was the root of Adam's fall into sin. His punishment was to be cast out of paradise. Man at the Garden is actually a doomed honorific. What if Kendrick intended for the song to be about a development of his pride that was so great that it led to him being cast out of paradise, and that the song is actually a self-aware reflection on the dangers of his own pride? And look, I'm not expecting Kendrick's every song to be completely theologically consistent, or even entirely consistent with itself and his views. But in this interpretation, pride is still framed as his enemy, and his position in the garden is actually a forewarning of what might come if he continues to exalt himself. At least that's the way I'm choosing to interpret it. But hey, I'm not the greatest rapper of all time. Regardless, we can all glean something from Kendrick's words. Keep your head down and work, put your pride to death, and take care of your garden. Thanks for watching.